hold on, Harry, I gotta stop.
No.
I don't think I'm gonna make it, dude.
Ross, come on, I can hear Todd's chopper.
I know, if we can just find a clearing to rest or... Who's that?
I think we gotta kill him.
I think you need to. Wait. Harry, there's too much heat. I don't think we can afford to. Shit!
What do we do?
I don't know if we're gonna make it out of Rockville. You need to tell our story, okay? We're not gonna make it, but you can tell our families what happened here. If we could just find a place to hide and...
Oh, I think
I see a clearing. Come on, follow us.
Okay, here looks good.
Okay. What? I think I hear his chopper. Get down. I think it's gone. For us? You shouldn't have it.
Oh my god.
Oh, this is gonna be so refreshing. We've been on the run for 2 days now at this point.
Okay.
You're probably wondering what this is about. I guess it's just about high time we tell you our terrible story with Todd. Anyways, alright, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down these walls. Harry, tell him.
We're tired of doing that skit because we can't keep that energy for this video.
So we started out with this whole skit written out where Todd Howard...
written out's generous.
We had a skit where he locked us in his basement and forced us to 100% complete his video game, The Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion. The gist of this video is we sort of 100% completed Oblivion. I said sort of. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Todd Howard did not force us to do this. Somehow we did it on our own volition and had, I'll say, a terrible time. First, we should probably explain why we had this terrible idea to try to complete a game that would eventually take us 110 hours to 100%.
This game has been part of our lives for half my life, over half of yours.
Yeah.
But anyway, up until that point, really our only experience with video games had been like first-person shooters like Halo and Medal of Honor.
Yeah.
We played Pokemon games. One snow day, my neighbor and my best friend, Devin Williams, he came over and brought over a little game called The Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion. I still remember my first time with this game. I didn't know that anything like this was even possible, so it was
didn't know it existed.
Yeah, it was such a formative and like eye-opening experience to what a game could be.
It was crazy for me to have a video game that wasn't right here and there was Charmanders all over it.
What's given it such like a fond place in my heart is sort of like that first experience of like a true open world, like a real fantasy RPG.
You know what did it for me? Everybody in that game's rock hard fucking bodies. The bodies in that game are insane.
Bro.
Anyways, so on my birthday last fall, I decided that I wanted to play Oblivion. I decided that I was gonna 100% it. And pretty quickly after being my researcher and right-hand man on several of the quests, Harry
A spirit guide of sorts.
A spirit guide. We just decided we were going to do it together because
Let's
no
tell
one
them
man
today.
no one man should have all that power.
No.
To do this, we used the quest guide listed in the unofficial Elder Scrolls Wikipedia pages. We say we 100%ed it, pretty weak attempt, but we did do all the named quests that we could, but we just bought all the houses. We didn't like buy all the horses or collect all the skill books or any of that other dumb bullshit. I guess preface, we're frauds.
Yeah, we didn't find all the places.
If you had
or
to
all
put
the
a percent
skill
on
books.
it, what percent would you put our run at? It's not 100%.
Probably 80.
80? That's depressing because we played it for 110 hours.
When we turned it on to try and get footage and like immerse ourselves back into the file,
We can hardly look at it.
I can't do it anymore.
No.
It almost makes me sad. Tell them about the build you decided to go with.
I am not proud of this one. So I started out with an orc character, and I chose to customize my class, and naturally I chose to use the birth sign of the Atronach, and if you're not familiar, it makes you resistant to magic damage, it increases your magic, but it doesn't allow you to regenerate magic. You're probably wondering what kind of character I chose that I didn't need to regenerate magic. It was a magician. I wanted to be like a melee combat conjurer. So I wanted to use conjuration magic, I wanted to use restoration, a little bit of destruction, lots of magic in this class,
Yeah.
and some blunt, some hand-to-hand combat skills. And when I couldn't regenerate magic and we constantly had to use our money to buy potions to get our sorcery back up, it was not great.
We started doing a lot of the same stuff that we always do. I feel like both always go for the guild quests first.
Yeah.
The guilds in Oblivion are great.
They're fantastic. So the first problems to come up when you're 100%ing Oblivion, it's just psychological. You complete a quest line and it takes you like a few days to do like the Mages Guild or whatever, and then you're like, oh, that was 5% of this completion. One of the things that we did to protect our sanity was have one of our TVs set up to play Oblivion, and then we got our roommate to set up his smaller TV in the same room. We ended up all just hanging out and watching like a movie on the big screen, and then we would take the smaller screen and just grind Oblivion, and mostly that consisted of going to Periac Shrine where there's a glitch, and you can exploit the NPCs who are in a paralyzed trance, and you can hit them over and over again to gain experience points.
But yeah, just finding ways to take your attention and putting it on anything besides the Elder Scrolls 4.
Because that's why we play video games, is so that we can pretend that we're not doing that. So the game proved very challenging for a lot of reasons, most of them just being the bulk of content that we had to get through. And so we came up with some ways to speed up the game. So one of the skills that I grinded was alchemy, and I would just pick up as many raw ingredients that I could from gardens in the game and just grind out potions. And I would just sell them over and over and over again, one at a time, to raise our mercantile skill.
Which was good, because we also had to buy every house in the game. Yeah. So the money made by those potions was pivotal to that process.
It was most of our money.
I think getting good equipment early on is crucial to saving time. The most important item you'll find is the skeleton key, which is for Nocturnal's Daedric quest. It's a Daedric quest. You get it at like pretty early. You can do it at like level 5, level 9. Like it's a pretty short quest, and it is an unbreakable lockpick that can get you into any door. So anytime you open a lock, you just press auto attempt over and over and over till it opens. Probably saved countless hours. When you have access to the Mages Guild, the first thing you should do is get yourself a set of armor made with grand soul gems filled with grand souls and enchant them with speed. You need to do that with every piece of armor and every piece of jewelry that you can wear, and then you need to make a spell that enhances your speed. Yeah, we didn't ever really think of it.
Max out your speed.
Max out your speed. Our speed stat out of 100 was about 250. Yeah, just having that mobility and the ability to get anywhere with the skeleton key will save you so much time.
So a daily ritual for us at the end of the day, because we pretty much played every day while we were doing this for months, was looking at the quest list and seeing how much was left. And this was actually pretty fun, because it would be like, oh, we knocked out all the Bs, we knocked out all the Zs, we knocked out everything in Bruma or whatever. So that was a really good way of sort of measuring our actual distance towards the finish line. Another thing that we stopped doing, that I wish we stopped doing very early on, was picking up loot in every container and body. Just the tiny fraction of time that it takes to sort of load, looking into their inventory and taking everything out and then pressing B to exit is just crazy how much that adds up.
Grinding skills is a huge part of it. That was tens of hours worth of gameplay. And some of the skills, I know we touched on it with Mercantile, unforgivable.
Pretty bad.
It's not based on like the value of the goods sold. So, you know, like the higher level you get, you're going to be finding more valuable items. So, you know, you'd think like, oh, I'm selling more and more valuable stuff. My ability to sell things is going to go through the roof. No, it's by number of transactions. So the best way to grind the skill is to buy 300 arrows from a shopkeeper and then sell back those 300 arrows one arrow at a time, and then do it again.
Athletics is pretty shitty. You pretty much have to run a marathon every time you want to level it up.
Can you say that again? I was doing a thing.
Yeah.
I'm still doing it. Wait.
Yeah, don't worry, I got it. I fucking hate the noise that's being made right now. God, that sucks so much.
Use trainers every time you can, because you can only use a finite amount per level. You can only train 5 times per level, so you're going to want to find a way to like max out your money per level so that you can use every single trainer skill point that you can.
Yes.
Now, Ross, not everyone talks about just how great a role-playing game the Elder Scrolls games are.
So like, you have so many of these RPGs that are doing these little mini games. Like Witcher has that card game. What's it called? Gent? I think it's Gent.
I think it's called Old Cards.
Witcher has that game Old Cards. Oblivion sort of had its own very cool mini game, and it was the disposition mini game. So this is how the Oblivion disposition mini game was. You had 4 options: admire, coerce, flirt with, or boast. Nice shirt.
Thank you. And you?
I'm gonna burn down the hay on top of your house. That's the roof that it has.
That's my house where I live.
I'm gonna beat you up.
Look at the muscles on you.
One solace that I do take in our completion was that we did make it to level 50. You can go higher if you keep going to prison and lowering all of your major skills so you can level them back up, but we didn't want to fucking do that, so we didn't. We ended up choosing a home in the game specifically so that we had a place to keep all of our gear, all of our special magic items that we wanted to keep, all the potions that we couldn't hold because God knows that we had way too many. And I chose the house in Bruma because that place has a crazy place in my brain and it makes me feel like I'm 6 years old.
Yeah. Let's be real, folks. As much as I love The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, it's not a perfect game. And
what?
There's a lot of scripting bugs that will rob you and robbed us of completing quests.
Would you say the game sort of buckled underneath our massive effort to complete it?
Yeah, I'd say there's probably 2% of the quests that we cannot complete. It's really demoralizing because it happened with big quests.
Yeah.
I was worried we just weren't going to get to do like 5 or 6 Fighters Guild quests, and that would have really...
God forbid.
And unless you're saving extremely frequently, then this is gonna happen, and you're gonna lose quests.
And a lot of quests like this are going to happen because so many NPCs just have died.
Disappear.
Like, we didn't think that we killed that many people, although we checked our stats, and we did kill 30-something
That's
murders.
not that many.
The game did try to tell us that we assaulted, like, 23,500 people, which can't be true.
I did the math. It's 3 a minute.
This was a fun bug that exists. Sometimes when you get really high level, just random weak-ass scrub enemies will have insane loot drops. Like, I'm talking hundreds of strong potion of sorcery, and those are worth a lot of money. Those are worth like 50-something gold. So there was also a lot of quest items that you can't drop, and with like hundreds of quests, sometimes having all those items like really adds up in weight. But fortunately, our strength got insane, and we also got the Gray Fox Cowl, which lets you carry hundreds of more pounds. So by the end, we were carrying like 500 something.
Without the cowl.
Without the cowl. Fortunately, one thing that I can say is we did not use like PC glitches like duplicating to make anything easier. We were playing on vanilla Xbox 360, baby. So I'm a little proud of that because I know a lot of people that do like official run stuff, like of speed runs, use PC glitches like duplicating and stuff, which is fine.
Cowards.
Like,
wrong. Cowards. Before we toyed around with the idea of doing a 100%, you'd consider doing max difficulty.
Yeah. That would have been a terrible choice.
I dissuaded you from it, I think.
I think I wanted to do max difficulty 100% because I hate myself.
Because the way another big failing, I think, generally in the Elder Scrolls series is the way difficulty works. It's a slider, which one is terrible. A wild choice.
Terrible.
What the fuck? And so at max difficulty, you are doing 1/6 damage, and your enemies are doing 6 times damage. Like any wild animal will be a fight for your life. It's unplayable at lower levels. But we spent like 3 minutes, I think, fighting a single dread zombie in a dungeon, and at that point we decided it was about time.
Just the fucking worst video game experience. Like, no fun was had. There was only anger and boredom and just sadness and shame.
I think I mentioned before, to get the, like, each skill has like a mastery quest associated with it, where you have to, once you get to a certain skill level, you can talk to somebody and they'll say, hey, if you want to really learn how to be good at this, go talk to so-and-so and Shadenhall, wherever the fuck. And so you got to go to them and you got to do some dumb bullshit for them. But to activate these, you only have to get to level 70. And so we did not master every skill, but we did the master quest for every skill.
After we got through all of the bugs of the game and made all of our compromises and accepted that we were just in for a lot of hours of not actually even really 100%ing the game, we got to the final quests. And the last quest that we ended up doing was collecting all the Nirnroot to do this really, really stupid quest for an alchemist in which you make like 4 really strong potions, and they each require you to gain a larger and larger amount of Nirnroot, the rarest mineral in the game. I literally looked up online and found a map of every Nirnroot in the game, and I realized because they're all on waterfronts that you could just make a big run across pretty much most of Oblivion's map and just run across all the rivers and lakes, and by the end of it you have like 100 Nirnroot. I did that and I got pretty much 75% of the way through, and then the game crashed.
Game crashed a lot more towards the end of the run. It was crashing semi-regularly.
It was on... Todd was on his last legs for the last bit of that horse race. Yeah. Is Todd a horse that we're riding in this metaphor?
In your metaphor, yeah.
In my dreams. When we finally finished the game, we decided to send our character off.
Yeah. So there's a location, a marked location on the map called Dive Rock. It's in the northeast section of Cyrodiil. And it's the highest precipice in the game that you can like walk around on. So
we traveled to the peak of Dive Rock, and we wanted to give ourselves a full send-off and finally kill our character since nobody else in the game could. So we jumped off the highest precipice in the game, and we landed, and it didn't kill us. Didn't put a scratch on old Thanos, the teen baller.
Now, I feel like we'll never get any sort of closure on this character.
We won't, and we don't deserve it because we didn't 100% the game.
We didn't 100% the game.
Now, what did I learn from 100%ing The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion? I learned that I have probably permanently tarnished this video game in my brain. But I also learned that there is a line somewhere in role-playing games that I don't know where it is as far as at what point you've completed the game for yourself. Because a lot of games, they're definitely not complete once you beat the main story. Like whether it's a collectathon and there's a lot of stuff to collect in really fun ways, or there's extra missions, or it's like an RPG and there's a lot of side quests you can go on. There's a lot more to experience the video game than the main storyline. But at the same time, do you want to 100% the whole video game? As I've learned, fuck no. So I think the line there is just whatever feels natural. Like before I tried to 100% Oblivion, every year, ever since I was like in the 7th grade, would go back to it and play it again. When I was like a lot younger, I would make like a handwritten like journal of what my character did and make a schedule for my character and be like, this time of the day, my character's gonna go out shopping. And then later in the day at 2 p.m., he's gonna go questing for 4 hours. And it was just so fun. And like, you could just do so many things with it. And that's what I did for a really long time until this year. I was like, I have like a problem with this for some reason, but at the end of the day, I don't think that's a problem to have like a comfort game that just feels like a blanket that you can keep going back to and just playing a new way for a few hours and then not finishing it. It's okay to not finish stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't fun, most of it.
Do you have any other feelings about it?
I did like doing it though. Yeah, and also like I will say like it is not meant to be done, but it does feel good to have like closure on something this big. Like the feeling of like seeing how big this game and this world was when I first played it when I was 12 years old, like getting closure on that was like a really weird feeling, but it felt good. Like it felt like I've actually experienced everything that this game has to offer. So Ross, what would you say if you had to rate Oblivion as a game, IGN style?
There's a little bit of something for everybody. It really makes you feel like Todd Howard, 10 out of 10. What would you rate Oblivion?
I'd rate it 10 out of 10 too.
Yeah.
A perfect game.
A perfect game. No flaws. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, but we're considering doing this as an annual series of every year 100%ing a game with each other, because we just kind of fucking suck. We are opening the DMs and the comments to requests of games that you think that next summer or fall or whatever we should try to 100% complete, and we'll make another video about it, and it'll suck just like this one. Thank you, Todd Howard, for what you have bestowed to us and also done to us mentally damage-wise. And thank you to the rest of the Bethesda team, because when it takes a village to raise a baby, there's a better metaphor. It takes an army to...
If you're gonna take the island, burn the boats.